Hello there, and welcome back to Star Wars Senate. So the main point of this week's video is what will make Star Wars Battlefront 2 good. So as you've probably worked out by now, Star Wars Battlefront is getting a sequel. Wow, who'd have guessed? EA making a sequel to a game that they can make money out of? That's not something you hear every day. So in the announcement, the CFO of EA, Blake Jorgensen, stated that we will get content from the new movies. And this statement is very, very vague because the new movies could mean anything. It could mean episode 7, 8, 9, Rogue One, the Han Solo movie. It really doesn't put a pointer on anything. It only really states that we won't be getting prequels anytime soon, and that's quite disappointing. But overall, with this comment, my biggest complaint is that it makes it seem as if Battlefront's just going to be a movie tie-in game. And as everyone knows, tie-in games are largely bullshit. I want a Battlefront that can stand out on its own, with actual content, and not just things that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's that thing from that movie that I saw in that one scene, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's alright. But don't base the entire game on it. Please. Not again. It is great. It showed it was good in Battlefront, but it's just a facade. There's no substance to it at all. It's just visuals. I mean, there can be all the Easter eggs in the world, and it still doesn't make it a good game. They need to use the Battlefront that they released as a lesson, as something that you can build from, something that you can just flesh out all of these visuals and sounds and things that they've created. And they really have the visuals locked down, and they need to move forward from there. People won't be fooled twice by the lack of content. People will have bought the game thinking, oh, it's okay, there'll be content here. But those people will have seen the game and thought, wait a minute, there's not much here, what am I paying all this money from? So they won't go back to a second one. So you really need to grab people in with content, show them that there will be content, just don't show them things, because things can be taken away. So here's what I think EA and DICE should do for the Battlefront sequel. Put capital ships in Fighter Squadron. Look, I love Fighter Squadron, it's great. But if you add maps that incorporate capital ships into them, it makes it so much more exciting. I mean, there's very little going on in the Fighter Squadron maps. There's ground things that you have to avoid, but no one goes near the ground. If you put a capital ship in the middle of it, people are going to have to physically avoid it and go around it, and it will make it so much more exciting because there's an actual interaction. It's not just a capital ship way off in the distance crashing. The capital ship could crash and you'd have to fucking dodge it, and that is something that I'd be so excited to see. An actual Star Destroyer crashing down around you, not just away off in the distance. Don't make it about the new episodes. There's been 2 battles with actual soldiers in episode 7, and fair enough, it's just the first movie, and there wasn't any real battles in episode 4. So when you look at the full trilogy as a whole, there's a lot more battles. If you just continue to do the Galactic Civil War, I'd be happy with it, because new movies includes Rogue One, and I'd really like to have a Battlefront about the new trilogy once the new trilogy's done, so you can paint a full picture of it rather than just a wee snippet, which would leave you wanting more from the rest of the trilogy, and it would cause kind of segregation of the trilogy into separate parts. So you might get a separate game for episode 8 and episode 9, and it's not something I'd like to have. I'd like to have the trilogy game where you've got all the different planets from the new trilogy. This is one of my most important ones. Put a fucking story in it, please. If there's a story, people will actually enjoy the game. They'll go back to it. They'll want to relive this Star Wars experience. It won't just be something that you can just have and run around in. There's a story, there's a almost linear path through the Star Wars universe. You don't have to try and make up your own shit as you go along in multiplayer. I mean, that's good and all, but it's meant to be something you can add to single player. It's not something that really should be on its own when it's focused on a franchise like Star Wars, which is a very story-based franchise. I mean, it's got all the visuals, it's got all the sounds, but when it comes down to it, it's not Transformers. It's got a heart to it, it's got a story to it, and it's something that needs to be utilised. What could you do with the story? Well, my idea is use Rogue One as a springboard. Rogue One's a new movie, so it's technically still within the constraints that they've built. So you could start off with something from Rogue One itself, because we know it's going to come out in 2017, which is after Rogue One comes out. So you could start off maybe in Rogue One, and that would fulfill DICE's apparent Star Wars Easter egg fetish. There's so much which could be done from there in the Star Wars universe, in the Galactic Civil War era, and it's something that they need to do. We've not even scratched the surface of the possibilities within the Star Wars universe. All we've got so far is just fans making maps that have something to do with the movies, and it's great and all, but it's just maps. So what I want to say to them is, branch the fuck out. I want to be deeply immersed in the Star Wars universe. I want to have a Band of Brothers type feel to this game. I mean, they've already said they're going to have a Saving Private Ryan type feel to Rogue One. So move on from there. Have a Band of Brothers where you're this squadron fighting through the shit, fighting the Empire, having to fight against all of the odds. And that would really capture the Star Wars spirit for me. When you look at Lost Stars, that uses the events of the movies and it exists in a parallel to them, so it creates its own stories and the stories of these people who experience the consequences of the main character's actions. And it was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's something that Battlefront should do too. I do have faith though. DICE produced an incredibly fun game with their first attempt at Battlefront, but these beautiful visuals and beautiful sounds really need to be solidified with content. It shouldn't just be something that they can scrounge off of us for money. It should be a beautiful environment filled with content, a beautiful game filled with content. And obviously that's my opinion, and opinions are meant to be disagreed with. This is a Senate after all. So what do you think? Fire your opinions down in the comments, I'd love to hear it. You should be able to start a discussion about Star Wars and what you think Battlefront 2 should be like. Might not be what actually happens, but it always helps to dream. So if you like this video, I highly recommend subscribing to this channel, as it's something which I will do more often. I'll give you more of these lovely videos. You can see my lovely face sitting at this okay desk. It's not exactly the best, it's a bit sugary. So as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.